I've been playing Pokemon Unite almost religiously since I started getting into ranked and quick games. I've been playing it day in, day out, time after time, battle after battle for a while now, so I feel like I have a certain knowledge about the game up to this point. And while I do love the game, it does have a lot of pitfalls that stops it from becoming the game that it can be, especially if it wants to break into the esports scene, which I imagine they will at some point. So in this short video, I'm going to go over all the issues that I have with Pokemon Unite and all the ways that I've thought to fix them. Now these are all my own experiences and from what I've heard from friends and from others who played the game. But before we get started, remember to leave a like and comment on the video with what you guys would change about Pokemon Unite. Right, let's get into it. Okay, first we should probably talk about the roster because personally, I feel there are too many attackers in the game. Now I've played other competitive games with characters with certain roles, like Valorant for example, and they're also at one point a victim to having too many duelist or offensive minded characters, so it's not just Pokemon Unite. However, that doesn't mean they should follow suit. At time of recording there are 4 support characters, 4 all-rounders, 4 speedsters, 6 defenders, and 8 attackers, with rumours of more attackers being added on the way as well. That's ridiculous, and it edges the style of play to being just all about attack, 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 instead of it being about strategy, team synergy, and teamwork. Which, don't get me wrong, is a very valid tactic, but it's not the only tactic, and it makes the game very one-track and very boring. It gets to the point where you see people playing defenders like Greedent as attackers because their moveset and speed is just ridiculous, so you have no reason not to. It's becoming a joke because most teams formed are like 4 or even 5 attackers, and the game has the nerve to say pick an all-rounder for team synergy when they don't provide enough alternatives. It's not like the map isn't made for each type of Pokemon to thrive and battle in, they just need to lean more into it and provide more options. Maybe it's the ranks I'm playing in, but all I see are teams full of attackers, and if I try to go for support with people I can't communicate well with, which I'll get onto later in the video, it's just impossible. If Pokemon Unite wants to be a serious contender in the esports scene, then there has to be a much better balance of Pokemon types and Pokemon abilities, which kind of brings me on to my next point about nerfs and buffs, because personally I feel like the balance of Pokemon is just completely off. Now, they have been trying to get better with this. Blastoise got nerfed and Gengar got nerfed early on, but does it really matter when Sylveon and Greedent and Talonflame still exist? Or that ridiculous Zero Aura moveset that basically one-shots you no matter your health? It's going to get to the point where we start to have only a small pool of characters to choose from, which just severely diminishes the level of gameplay. Every game has metas and ways of playing, and part of learning about a game and playing a game is figuring out these tweaks and manipulating them. But there are some metas where it doesn't even require skill, it just requires spamming a button and hoping for the best. Everyone is picking Sylveon, Greninja, Zero Aura, Greedent. There's just no more variety in the games anymore. Maybe it's just me and that's something I kind of crave when I'm playing a game as well as winning. But again, this is a problem for most competitive online games, so they're not alone in this. But it doesn't mean that Pokemon Unite should just leave well enough alone. Add some more defenders, add some speedsters, and make the roster a more balanced selection. If we had a more balanced and stable roster, then I feel the game as a whole would improve. Because let's be honest, the game is already buggy as hell after beta and after release. Which brings me on to my next point, well, next 2 points to be exact, about the bugs and the UI. Pokemon Unite is so riddled with bugs that it's ridiculous, and it seems to get worse with every update. There are times when you're loading into a game and you get disconnected, avatar faces not even showing in matchmaking lobbies, the incredibly slow loading times and severe lag when going into a game is horrendous. There are even times when you load in and the music just doesn't play. I know this is a game for Switch and mobile, which in comparison to say a PC or the current generation of consoles, they have a lot less hardware capability to work with. But some of these bugs are just insane. I personally think the fact that they had to port the game to mobile has affected how the UI looks as well. That's why you see all these big buttons and actions that look like you can tap it with your finger on a smartphone device. This was especially evident when the UI completely changed when the mobile version came out. And while it had some welcome changes, it still had some pitfalls. For example, I'm glad they moved the events tab to the homepage, but was it really that much effort to add a claim all to the events like they did with the battle pass? To add on to this, if I've completed an event, why does it still stay there so I have to scroll past pages of completed stuff that doesn't interest me to see the things I do care about? Everything in the game seems to take an extra step more than is needed, and considering it's made for mobile phone touchscreens as well, it's odd that you can't touch the screen on the Switch to navigate around the menu. These seem like small things, but it's these little quality of life improvements that make the experience so much better. Now, moving on to the last part that needs to be addressed in Pokemon Unite, and the main thing that's really holding the game back from moving forward, and that's communication and information. It's so unbelievably bad and it's harmful because it's the most important thing in a team game. Now obviously Discord exists, and if you have a 5-stack already set, then this really isn't an issue. But if you're solo queuing, it becomes nigh on impossible to talk to your teammates. You can't let them know what Pokemon to choose, you can't communicate very well where you're going, and you can't give detailed comms about how to approach the game. The closest you have is a preset of vague phrases you can use to let them know what's going on, which for a game that relies on having perfect information is not good enough. I can tell this is a very deliberate and calculated move because it's almost like Tencent Game is trying to avoid the toxic culture of online gaming by giving phrases and presets that can cause no harm. And while I admire the effort that's gone into this, and I do believe that the toxic online culture is wrong, you lose so much for trying to eliminate trolls by giving a poor way to communicate with your teammates. And this isn't the only way which Tencent Games has purposely restricted information to the players. Why don't they show you the score and only say things like you're in the lead or oh you're struggling here? This doesn't tell me how many points I should accrue or if I should level up and farm or sneak some points in. Putting the score so players can see allows for me to change my strategy instantly and effectively. There was a Kotaku interview with Pokemon Unite's producer Masaki Hoshino about why they hide scores, in which he said, the matches last 10 minutes and players have the possibility of making a comeback, so he wanted people to play without giving up to the very end. And while I get that, it's hardly encouraging to see you're really struggling instead of seeing the actual score. The worst part is, in spectator mode, you can see the score, and it's ironic because it's one of the better built spectator modes that I've seen in a while, so it's not like they don't already have it in place. Now, Hoshida did say to Kotaku that they always listen to the fans, and this is evident with the recent questionnaire that they sent out, so there is a chance that they could change this, because if they had voice channels for better communication and show the score, Pokemon Unite will instantly become a much better and much more well-rounded game. Okay, that's all the stuff that I thought could be improved about Pokemon Unite. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and what you guys could improve about the game. Also don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're new if you really enjoyed. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.